Tottenham Hotspur, it has happened again. Can you believe it? It's finished here at St James's Park. Newcastle United 2, Tottenham Hotspur 1, and this is the last word. And we are back for the last word. I've got Lee, I've got Sam, I've got Charlie as well. And he's going to tell us who the man of the match is at the end of this video. Make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to Newcastle Fans TV. And remember, all the last words are on audio as well, so if you want to listen to it and tell your mates about it, by all means, on all good platform providers. Lee Lawler, team news. Harvey Barnes gets a nod on the left with Gordon going on the right. And in terms of the full-backs, there was always a discussion whether it's going to be Kelly or Hall, Livramento or Trippier. It was Livramento and Kelly today. What do you make of the team today?
I think that's, for the wingers, I think that has to be the way forward unless there's an injury, because no doubt you'll bring it up later on this video, the shit show of the transfer window. But I think that'll be the way forward. You've got to swap them around at times, Barnes, because Barnes is a natural goal scorer out wide and they're hard to come by in the Premier League. In terms of the full-backs, I think you went with Kelly today for defensive capabilities. Hall's better going forward, but the one time that Kelly got forward, ironically, he grabs an assist. But on the right-hand side, Trippier's got a bit of work to do now to get on that side, because Tino is now on the England side. Trippier's obviously announced his retirement. I don't know if that's influenced where Lee Carsley said, look, I'm not going to pick you. I don't know, I could speculate about that, but a bit of work for Trippier to get in the side.
Sandro Tonali on the bench, great to see him back. I know you were at Nottingham Forest on Wednesday, but great to see him on the bench.
I didn't expect him to start, so I'm not really surprised about that. But Krath, obviously, again, he was outstanding, which you touched upon, and Fabiche is now back after suspension, and it's good problems to have at the back at the minute.
Certainly. We probably would have said that. Probably would have said that after Southampton about half an hour in, but we'll talk about that. Sam,
yes.
Spurs. I don't think they're frightened you. They're not the Spurs of a few years ago where you look at the team and go, ooh, Spurs have been Spurs. That's coming up later. But in all seriousness, it's still a decent side, but it's not as frightening as it used to be. No Mickey van der Ven for Spurs either today. What did anybody, when you look at that 11, go, ooh, I'm not too sure about that?
I don't think Van der Ven was their biggest loss. I actually quite like Dragic as a defender. I think they were missing a focal point up top, actually.
65 million for Dom Solanke.
Yeah, I'd rather 63 for Alex Isak, but I think they were missing that focal point. It's still a bit odd not seeing Harry Kane line up for Spurs, but yeah, there wasn't anyone. I mean, look, I love Son Heung-min as a player. He's my favourite non-Newcastle player in the Premier League. He's always going to be one to watch, but yeah, like you say, there's not. Looking at that lineup, you don't think, oh, we're really up against it today, lads. There's one where, you think, well, we should be getting at these, particularly what's happened the previous 2 seasons here.
Yeah, certainly. I'll stay with you, Sam, at the start of the game. I thought Newcastle, like they did against Nottingham Forest, like they did against Southampton, and arguably against like they did against Bournemouth, this started pretty well for the first 10 minutes or so. It was a case of we were at them and we're getting a bit of joy down the left-hand side as well. But again, very quickly, where Spurs were dominating possession, in Newcastle almost on a counter-attacking team, if you like. And what did you make of the first half an hour before the goal went in?
Yeah, I mean, it's becoming a recurring theme, this, and I'm not sure I'm a fan of it. It's almost like we've shot our bolt too early. Isak hit the bar from a very, very narrow angle. My word, that was so close to going in as well. Amazing technique to even get that close. Do you know what? I think the injury to the lino, I think that benefited us somewhat, because Spurs were just starting to really come in the game and start to dominate, but that just gave us a chance to regroup and kind of gather ourselves a little bit. Spurs did dominate possession, and you're right, we were a bit of a counter-attacking side, particularly in the second half though, but I don't think it was as bad as in previous weeks where we've just had a good 10 to 15 minutes and we've just been second best for pretty much the remainder of the game.
Yeah, I think I have to say, Leo, the people in the Gallagher were saying the opposite. They were saying actually Newcastle were doing okay, and it was almost the case that we didn't really want that stop from the linesman. It depends on how you interpret it, of course, but in terms of Newcastle, I felt like there's been something missing, particularly in that between the midfield and defence. It has been for a while, but particularly at the start of the season. Did you see improvements? Because that's probably the one thing that a lot of people will be listening and watching. Did we actually make any improvements from, say, the Southampton and the Bournemouth game in this game?
I thought defensively we were a lot better. I think Lloyd Kelly was a great decision ahead of Lewis Hall, because naturally he just looks like, do you know, a bit like the old days of Darren Peacock, people that are old enough to remember him, a defender that loves to defend. I get that vibe with Lloyd Kelly, whereas Lewis Hall is right. We're on the attacking front. Let's go after this game. So I thought that was a great decision to start with. I thought the fitness of Andy Gordon was a lot better today because I've criticised him. I think one or two have. At the start of the season, he doesn't look fully at it. Not his greatest performance, no, but fitness levels are approaching. I wouldn't say peak just yet, but maybe after the international break, we'll see what happens. But this was the biggest test, without a shadow of a doubt, so far this season. Possibly even Spurs' biggest test so far coming here, because nobody wants to come here. And now we've had the doom and the gloom of the transfer window, but this is a formidable place for teams to come here and trying to get something. So, because no doubt Spurs fans look and think, oh God, Newcastle again, because the history of the last 2 seasons. And what was the question again?
Just whether there's been a general improvement. But I think you pretty much said it. What do you want to add?
Just to pick up on a point there that Lee made about criticising Gordon, I don't think it's criticising. I think it was just a bit more of an observation, because he had 45 minutes of pre-season, so you can't criticise him.
Does he need to be in that England squad? Because I don't think he should be anywhere near that England squad for 2 weeks. Does he not have an injury for 2 weeks? If you can get my drift.
It'd arguably help his fitness and find a bit of form. Yes, Lee's correct.
Do you not think he's just knackered though?
No, not at all.
But also, it might be his chance that he looks at it and thinks, you know what, I've got a chance to stake my claim now in England squad.
I personally, I don't think he should be anywhere near. From a biased Newcastle point of view, I don't think he should be anywhere near that England squad. Not on form.
Tonali. Why is Tonali straight away in the Italy side? So
yeah, that's different though, in my opinion. But Sam, Newcastle did take the lead. Harvey Barnes,
Barnes will tear you apart again. Come on, Charlie, sing the song. Barnes.
He's not stupid.
No, he doesn't like it. He did like the goal, mind. He did like the goal. I've heard him there talk to his dad about that one. But in all seriousness, Sam, we've been asking, can Barnes and Gordon and Isak work? And we saw Barnes on the right against Forest, and we saw Gordon on the left. Today it was the other way around. Gordon on the right, Barnes on the left. But big credit has to go to Dan Burn with the quick throw, Lloyd Kelly with the cross, and it's a fantastic finish. I think it's actually a really underrated finish from Harvey Barnes. Opens his body up, side foot, no chance for Vicario, and Newcastle went 1-0 up, and it's a great finish.
Yeah, great little goal. I about the front three, I was expecting it to be a bit more fluid than it actually was. They were quite rigid in their positions. I was expecting it to be quite fluid. Isak pulling into the left, Barnes maybe drifting out to the right. Gordon can run in between the lines down the centre or whatever, but it wasn't. They stuck to their positions, and it worked reasonably well. Lloyd Kelly was fantastic in getting that, winning that ball and getting the cross in, and it was perfect. It wasn't just chucked him. There was thought and consideration into where he was putting that cross in, and it was a perfect ball in, and it was just asking to be buried, which Barnes did with aplomb. So yeah, great little goal, and 1-0 up we go, and life was great, and it was good to see really, because then that does dispel the thing of 10-15 minutes gone and then we're out of it, but that wasn't the case today.
No, it wasn't. Newcastle held on, even though with the injury to the Lions and in 5 minutes of injury time, Newcastle did held on. It was 1 at half time. Lee, Spurs made a substitution. Ange Postecoglou. Big Ange, good day, mate. He took off Pape Sarr and he brought on Brennan Johnson, who obviously had a big part in the goal. But Spurs went for it. It was 4-2-4, and they really exploited us, didn't they?
Yeah, with the better team second half. Can't stand here and say that we deserve the win, because I actually don't think that. So. But Spurs, obviously, that tactical switch, putting Johnson on the right, going for it. They had a lot of shots. I haven't seen the stats, but I imagine it's probably more than double an hour's possession and everything coming down. Porro was hitting shots every time the ball was on the edge of the box. I think he had about 5 or 6 just alone. But it's a case of, right, you're up against a team that's effectively we're rivals, us and Spurs, because come the end of the season, you would think that they're going to be in around 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, whatever. So... And Postecoglou 1-0 down, obviously thinking, right, we've got to get back into it. He had to make changes, because first half it was us. Yes, Spurs had a small spell, but were you worried?
I was, yeah.
They were peppering well.
No, I think it was. Do you know honestly, I thought Spurs. I think Spurs was almost the first half.
If they had a striker.
Well, if you've spent £65 million on a Bournemouth striker, he may have made a difference. But I just thought Spurs showed in the first half what they could do in the second half, if that makes sense. It was almost like a preview. But they did take their chance in the end, Sam, after a couple of chances which Nick Pope dealt with particularly well. They did hit the post as well from a deflected cross/shot.
That was Longstaff, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, when it was like going to be an own goal, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Off Longstaff.
But does Nick Pope need to do better with the original shot when Dan Burn actually hits it into his own net, which is, I think it was actually very unlucky. I've not seen it back, but does he need to do better with the original shot?
I don't know. It was scrappy, and that was the only way really Spurs were going to score. I think from our point of view, I think in and around that time of real Spurs domination, I think individually they were trying to do too much. Trying to take that extra touch and get it away themselves, and I think they were just trying to do too much, and it was to our detriment in the end, because Spurs eventually did get that equaliser. It was coming. Can't really say you have any issue with it, because like Lee said, they were the better side second half, and they're a dangerous team, playing four up front: Son, Kulusevski, Brennan Johnson.
But does he have to do battle Pope with the initial save?
I don't know. I'm not slagging off.
I think the initial one, again, I've only seen it once. I think he has to do better, because he palms it, and you can't, not a flap, but he pushes it straight to Spurs. It was a
Brennan Johnson
with the follow up, and then he gets a hand to that, doesn't he, like that, and then Burn and kicks it high in the own net.
Yeah, I think it's unlucky from Dan Burn, but look, let us know in the comments. We've not seen it back. I've seen the Harvey Barnes goal back. That was an unbelievable goal. I'll stay with you, Sam, just on this next bit. I know we've just obviously mentioned whether Nick Pope should do better with the first goal or not, but 3 or 4 really, really good saves, particularly one from Maddison, which is just over the crossbar, was the pick of the lot for me. I think that even Pedro Porro had one where he just tipped over as well. It's having Nick Pope back. Well, not necessarily a blessing, but just how much of a presence is he? Because he's made such a difference just from the 3 games he's played. We all know that he's kicking. We can talk about his kicking another day, but if you're asking, you want a goalkeeper to keep the ball at the back of the net, he's your man.
Well, you were the one just criticising him for the goal we conceded.
I think he should do better.
I'll turn it round on you. Would we have won today if Dubravka was in goal?
No.
If Lakadimos was in goal?
Well, I don't know, because I've not seen him.
We're never going to. It's apparently fundamentally...
20 million quid for Lakadimos, apparently.
Well, no, it was you scratch my back, we'll scratch yours. Yeah. And you look, I don't want to talk about the transfer window, because that seems like all we've talked about. It was nice to come here for a game, and it's nice now that we've got the win going into that international break, just to lift our spirits. The fans, the fan base as a whole needed that today, and I suppose Eddie Howe needed that as well, and everyone in the club would have needed that. Pope, fantastic. I think he was just a bit unlucky, unfortunate for the first goal. He's made some great saves there. His game management was superb and on point, and broke their rhythm up a little bit, a lot.
What are you trying to say?
Second half. It's game management. All the top teams do it. Pope's superb, and he does make all the difference. And yeah, we wouldn't have won today without him.
Lee.
And he's a better shot stopper than Pickford, for me. But Pickford's just much better with his feet and distribution.
Yeah. That's England fan TV if you want to watch that later on.
Yeah, we don't do England videos on this channel. Very rare.
Very rare. But just going back onto the game, substitutions were made. Sandro Tonali out from the wilderness, 10 months out, back at St James's Park. First appearance back at St James's, of course. He came off for Sean Longstaff, which I was a little bit surprised about at the time, because all three midfielders on yellow cards. I was a little bit surprised, but again, do I want Bruno to come off? No. Do I want Joe Linton to come off? Probably not. So out of the 3, it's one of those things.
Much better from Joe Linton today, just a quick word.
Last
2 games he's been appalling. But yeah,
I agree. But what did you make of the substitutions? Was it the right timing? And again, Lewis Hall for Lloyd Kelly as well?
We're up against it, aren't we? So it makes sense for Tonali with his cleverness. You can see little bits of pockets on Wednesday, a little bit today, that he's can high press, he can put his foot in, he can do one-touch passing. So that's probably why he's in the Italian squad, because the Italian squad isn't the best that it has been the last few years. But Murphy was awful.
When does Tonali start for Newcastle?
Maybe after the international break, potentially, because we said it'll be like late September, didn't we? So we're in early September now. So yeah, maybe late September. But I don't know. But I think it will be late September. It might even be a cup game, might be the Wimbledon game potentially, because then we've got Fulham, haven't we? So we'll see, but it's great to have him back. The substitution Murphy was absolutely useless until the goal. Because God almighty.
Let's talk about the goal, because Joe Linton picks up the ball inside his own half, and it was the only time where he really got a little bit of joy in terms of actually being able to go forward and look for an attacking pass. And it was a great pass into the path of Jacob Murphy. He makes a great run. I know there'll be a lot of people saying he was absolutely rubbish, and I understand that, but it was a great run, great pass. It lays on the play to the man that put the ball in the Magpies net, Alexander Isak, and who couldn't miss. And Newcastle, against the run of play, Lee, were 2-1 up.
It was massive against the run of play. The only slight thing, because of the angle where I am in the Gallagher, I didn't know whether he passed, because it looked to me he passed slightly forward. I was thinking, oh no, surely Isak's onside. Surely Murphy hasn't done that. But obviously it checked VAR dead quickly, he wasn't, so that's fine. And yeah, very, very much unselfish. I think every player would do that in that situation, unless you maybe a Ronaldo or someone like that, because you wouldn't pass, would you? But yeah, we're against a runner player. Isak, he just loves playing against Spurs, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's why Mickey van der Ven wasn't here today. That's the God's honest truth. Newcastle held out really, really well. Newcastle held out really, really well in the end, defended really, really well. And Spurs didn't really have many chances from any note after that.
At least it's not a wasp. At least that's not a wasp.
It's a spider.
It's a spider. But Newcastle did win by 2-1. Eddie Howe, he's had a bit of a week through the cup. Transfer window, deadline day, what was even that? And then 3 points today. Eddie, tell us all about Newcastle's 2-1 win today.
First half we were reasonably happy. Second half we weren't. We were under pressure, especially at 1-0. Defended well for long periods, conceded, and again I thought substitutions made a difference. I thought the lads coming on the pitch gave us a little bit more energy. We're very grateful to win. We know that our performance levels have to improve in order to sustain that, but it's a great sign when you're winning and you're not at full tilt. The unity was there. I mean, the supporters were absolutely incredible again. I mean, the support for Sandro first and foremost, that was emotional. And then just the way they handled the game, because it's been very easy to have a different atmosphere, but it was one of support for the players. It enabled us to get back into the game, and that last, 20 minutes I was really pleased with. It was a great response from the players and the supporters together. We've got a lot to work on. I mean, I'm not deluded. We've got a lot to work on there. I don't think we were particularly good with the ball today. Don't think we defended particularly well. I think we're indebted to Nick, who made some good saves. There was some good defending in there at the same time, some last-ditch defending crosses. So there were some really good bits, but generally I think we were too easy to open up today.
Thanks, Eddie. This is your updated Premier League table. And you can see Newcastle are right at the top, if you like, right at the top. We're getting there. We are getting there. Lee, we'll quickly talk about the transfer deadline day and the transfer window. We've done that. Sam, no. We'll talk about it briefly. Do we need a £70 million defender or a £50 million winger from Nottingham Forest? Or is Emil Krafth and Miguel Lamron and Jacob Murphy and Harvey Barnes good enough?
Well, firstly, as I said earlier in the video, I think I've gotten two players into one there, Gordon and Barnes. I don't know what happened there. I've just made up a new player. Them alternating between left and right is probably the best that you could maybe hope for. And I think we're all right defensively. I don't think that was major for me personally, but that's probably why Alex Murphy hasn't. I know Sam's grimacing. I don't think it's a major. It's not major.
Well, it is, because that was the difference last season, wasn't it? We shipped a lot of unnecessary.
Because we're midfield though, as well as having someone sitting. But anyway, I'll disagree on that. I think a right winger was more priority than a.
I agree.
Than a centre back. I think you can get away with our defenders this season. The Krafth looks like a man reborn. His form is. I mean, Fabian Schär's going to have to. He'll do well to dislodge them. But Yassa's here today.
Does Fabian Schär start against Wolves?
Right now, no.
Yeah, he does.
He will.
He does.
I think Eddie Howe will, but on form, Krafth doesn't deserve. I remember this conversation with Lascelles last season. We were like, Botman comes straight back in. It's like that, isn't it? But on form, Krafth deserves to keep his place. But going back to transfers, Yassa's here today. He surely has to ask the questions. What the f*** has happened in our transfer window? He has to bollocks
What's your language in front of a 7-year-old?
I know, I can't help it, sorry.
He wasn't listening. Good.
But you have to look at it and think, what's happened, lads? What's happened, Darren? What's happened, Paul Mitchell? Because Yasser Al-Rumayyan surely would be sitting back, because they're making signings in Saudi, left, right and centre with the PIF, because they own 4 other clubs in the league. We're struggling. Come on.
What do you think? Because it is interesting with Yasser Al-Rumayyan and a few other PIF representatives coming to St James's today. I think it was probably pre-planned that it was going to be this game. And look, Newcastle have won the game. That's probably the biggest thing they'll take from. We've just beaten Spurs. We can go back to Saudi. We've beaten Spurs. Newcastle are doing well. We're in the top 4, 5, 6, whatever. What do you make of what sort of meetings, what sort of discussions do you think the top echelons of this football club are having these discussions on now?
I mean, look, you can get my thoughts. I did a video on it yesterday, so you can get my thoughts on that situation there. In terms of Yasser, I don't think you'll see the bollocking that you're expecting. I think it'll be more of a case of a bit of an encouragement and come on, what's going on? What do I need to do to help? What went wrong? Where can we do better next time? We've got 4 months now to plan for January, which is a tricky window, as we know. But like Lee said to me the other day, it's still a window where we signed Bruno, where we signed Gordon, Trippier, Dan Burn, and so there's no excuse. So this win today is huge because, as I said earlier, it's what everyone needed around this place.
What if we didn't win today?
We did, but I don't think we need to go into that because
we would have talked more about transfers.
100%. But
we got beat today.
Yes, because the frustration isn't aimed at Eddie Howe and isn't aimed at the players on the pitch. So I don't think there would have been an atmosphere turn or something like that.
Not yet. But what happens when we go 4 or 5 games? You know fine well. You run our Twitter. You know what's going to be said on Twitter.
But to say that, just before you come in, Sam, just to say that Newcastle have got 7 points of 9. We're in the third round of the Capital. Well, I was going to say Capital One Cup. That's how long ago. Carabao Cup, and we're playing a League Two side. Things look rosy apart from the transfer, Sam. Surely
it's not Stevenage Borough, is it? No. Look, Eddie Howe is the only man that's keeping us in contention for Europe. I know it's September, but having a good start to the season is imperative. It's where we've gone wrong so often down the years in Premier League history, and we're left to play catch up. Eddie Howe is working wonders. So the atmosphere, you might get frustration on Twitter or whatever it's called this week, but that wouldn't transcend into the stadium whatsoever, because Eddie Howe still retains full support of the supporters, and rightly so. The job he's done is immense. He'll be frustrated the same as the supporters, and he's the only thing, along with the 11 on the field, that's A, has to bear the brunt of fan frustration and being asked the questions in Eddie Howe's pressers, and B, they're the ones doing it, winning us points, keeping us up there in the Premier League. So they need our support. They don't need the frustration. That should be left for Eales, for Mitchell, for Silverstone, whoever, for Yasser, whatever. But I don't think you'll ever see it transcend into the stadium.
I think just on that, we actually do still have a good squad.
Yeah.
Of about 14, 15 players.
Even look at the bench. Like you look at that bench. We're still missing Miley. We're still missing Willock. We're still missing Wilson. We're missing Botman. We're missing Lascelles.
Oh.
You put those 5 players into that bench.
But you don't want any more, though.
No, of course.
Then it's going to be a case of last season, isn't it? This squad is still capable.
Willock as well.
This squad is still capable, and you never know what happens with 5th place. That might drop down in the Champions League. So we'll have to see. We want clubs to do well in Europe. I hate saying that, but that benefits us, doesn't it?
Just on a positive note, how big of a win was today?
I think it takes as Sam said, it takes a little bit off the topic of transfers, because no doubt if we got beat today, it would all be about transfers if we didn't win today. Yeah. It's took the, not the pressure, that's the wrong word, it's took the heat off them.
Yeah. Like I said in the video yesterday, if you do want, you are going to have to watch it now. But we don't expect a marquee signing every window. There was no need to go and spend 70 mil on one player. I think a lot of fans around here would have preferred if we split that in half and spend 30 million on a centre-back, 40 million on a right winger. If we're panic bidding for Elanga for 50 million or whatever it was rumoured to be, that is panic, and that is unprofessional. And that 50 million should have been going on Kubo from Sociedad.
Do you know what it is?
Charlie,
go for a video.
Who would you like to sign?
Have you got a player that you'd like to see in Newcastle?
What's your say? Who would you like to sign for Newcastle?
So there's a right winger called Rodriguez, I think it's called.
Who did you say?
From Fiorentina, remember the right winger?
Gonzalez.
Yeah.
Gonzalez.
I'll tell you what.
How do you know about that?
He's been listening to his mum, that's what it is.
Hang on, wait. Did you just say you want to sign Nico Gonzalez from Fiorentina? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
How do you even know about him? Have you been staying up late at night watching Serie A?
He has. Charlie, you've got the last question of the day. I remember that question I told you before the video. Who was Newcastle United's man of the match today?
First half, Lloyd Kelly amazing, but the whole match, Tino Livramento superb.
Good lad. So Tino Livramento is the Newcastle Fans TV man of the match, courtesy of Charlie. I think a lot of people.
Kraft and Burn, honourable mention.
Yeah, I would have said that as well. Do you disagree with Charlie? Remember how old he is?
If Charlie was all grown up, I would have said Kraft, but I'll agree. Yes.
I think defensive effort as a whole, they've kept them out because it was getting hairy at times. So I think all of them along the back line, Lon Kelly, Lewis Hall when he came on, all super. Nick Pope, amazing.
Yeah, Dan Burn was immense for me, I have to be honest. I thought he had a good battle with Son at times, where Son was drifting into the middle. I know he had his moments on the wing. But yeah, 7 points out of 9, through to the next round, the Cup. And now we've got an international break to look forward to. However, the women are back. Newcastle United women's team are back in league action next week. They take on London City Lionesses, where Lee will be flying down to London and then flying back to Newcastle, hopefully with 3 points as Newcastle.
I hope your plane doesn't go like that.
No, hopefully not.
No, hopefully not. But yeah, so make sure you keep
an eye on the analysing the goals on this game as well. That'll be out the next 24 hours.
Good. So make sure you've got too many videos. We've got Green and Mullen
It's too many. It's too many. Why?
Exactly.
It's too many. You're spoiled. And this is free, right?
Yeah, this
And
is
it's
free.
raining, so let's go.
Yeah. Like and subscribe to Newcastle Fans TV. We'll see you all very soon.